Hey, welcome to EPS Para Talk. This is Robert and Janie, and this is a little bit special because this is actually an interview we're going to be doing with Janie. She's our team medium, so we'll give everybody a moment to go ahead and be jumping on here, as well as getting this shared out with everybody. Janie, how you doing today?
I'm tired.
Tired? Why are you
I'm
tired?
tired because it's been
You
a
act
long
like you
week.
work. Come on. Wow, if looks could kill, I think I got two black eyes off that one. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I work? Of course I work. Let's get down to business here.
How often do you work, Janie?
Every day, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 12.
Sometimes 6 days a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Cheyenne, thanks for being on. Freddie, thanks for being on. We also have Freddie in this room right now, and we also have Sean.
Hello. Hey.
So if you hear some other voices, relax. It's nothing haunted here. Casey, thanks for being on. Again, we're just letting everybody catch up and share, and we're going to get rolling with this. Guys, everybody else out there hopefully is doing really well. Again, today the way this is going to work is it's a simple, casual, interactive interview with Janie. She's been a medium since
9 years old.
Since 9 years old. How did you first? What was the first indication that kind of had you obviously confirm for you? What was the big event?
It wasn't even a confirmation. It was like you're 9 years old and you wake up in the middle of the night at grandma's house and there's all these strange people in your bedroom and you know they're not real. You don't know how you know they're not real. You just know that, for one, there's never that many people at your grandma's house at nighttime like that. So it's not even a confirmation. It's like, what's going on and how come I can see them, but apparently nobody else here in the room with me can see them.
That's basically the way it started for you.
That's exactly,
that you can remember
that is exactly
waking up.
I can remember waking up at my grandma's house. They lived in an old plantation house in the holler, believe it or not. That's what they called it. Honest to God. And I remember seeing all these people, and I remember the next morning I went downstairs. Grandma was in the kitchen making breakfast like she always was. She was the first one out of bed every morning. And I can remember that they had a wood stove in the kitchen. And Grandma cooked on this wood stove, and there was an old wooden chair that sat next to it on the right-hand side. And when you walk out of the hallway from the rest of the house into the kitchen, this chair would have been on the right. And I could remember seeing an older man sit in that chair when I came into the kitchen, and I thought, I've never seen this person before. And I asked my grandma, I said, who is that man? She said, oh, it's just Mr. Sabine. He won't hurt you. And I said, who is Mr. Sabine? She said, well, he's dead, but he won't hurt you. And that was the first time it ever hit me that these people that I'm seeing aren't alive. Because as a 9-year-old, you don't think about it. Right. You know what I mean? And I said, well, how come we can see him? She said, only the ones who are allowed to can see him. But she was old-fashioned. She was to a school a day of her life. So she didn't explain it in a way, it was like, it's a gift. She just said, well, only those that are allowed to can see it. And I used to think as I got to be a teenager and I could see all these things, think, why am I allowed to? What did I do that was so bad that I get to see all this creepy stuff, But then as I got a little older, I'd explain things to my mother about things that I would see and things that I just knew about people, even strangers that we would come in contact with at the grocery store or whatever. And she'd say, well, don't tell anybody because they'll put you away for that kind of stuff.
We're going to go back to that in a second. I want to go through real quick, give some shout outs real fast, guys. If you guys would, just go ahead and start shouting out real quick some of the people that are on right now.
Philip's on. Mary's on.
Goldie and Jadley's on.
Hi, Bill.
Alan, Steven, Cheyenne, Zira,
Jennifer,
Wyatt,
Sandy.
Hi, everybody. Hey, I want to do a shout out for
Go
Miss
ahead.
Gina. She's traveling today and couldn't watch us, but she will watch later. So, hi, Gina.
Gina will definitely watch. Candace, thanks for being on. Bill, thank you so much for being on.
Bill
says, hey.
is my brother-in-law.
Hey, he says hey to you right now.
Hi, Bill.
She can see the screen halfway. She's got contacts.
Bill
now.
already
She's
knows
working
about
on.
my eye problems.
I'm explaining to everybody else. It's not just an age thing when she's doing these goofy looks. It's okay. We're used to it. We're teammates.
It's a mess.
You got to have some fun.
Bill, I'm drinking coffee as we speak, dear. You better warn this man.
Just coffee, sure. It's the way we keep her calm.
Don't get Bill started.
So I want to go back to what I just cut you off from was you were told basically don't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything. My mother said to me, if you say anything to anybody in the family, they're just going to call you a liar. And if you say anything to anybody at school or anywhere else, they'll think you're crazy and put you away. At a young age, don't say anything because they're going to call you a liar.
Still about when you were 9 years old. That's the conversation you're having.
It's a conversation I can remember having with my mother, and which was when I saw this at my grandma's house, and I knew my grandma saw it too. Then I thought, well, even if they'll put us away for talking about it, at least I'm not by myself. My grandma can see it too.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to be in a cell all by myself because if I'm going, I'm going to tell them she can do it too. But no, you just didn't talk about it. And when I got to be a teenager, it got so strong that there were times when I could see things and hear things and I wouldn't tell anybody. And after a while, it starts to get to you. And I can remember my mother taking me to the doctor because she thought that I was about to have a nervous breakdown. I mean, there'd be times when I would literally just pass out. Just pass out. But we now know why that happens.
Now, as a teenager,
but to try to explain that to them back then, I couldn't because I didn't understand it.
Was anybody working with you at this time?
No.
As a teenager?
No, oh God, no.
I mean, obviously things have changed now, and it's a great thing. Hey, my mom's on. Mom.
Hi, Robert's mom. Did you drop him a few times when he was little?
Several times. I think everybody was pushing.
Jeez.
Judy Wynn, thanks for being on. My brother, see how many times I could drop.
God.
Linda, thanks for being on.
Hi, Colette.
Bonnie.
Bonnie.
So, fortunately, nowadays, kids hopefully are getting more and more the opportunity to actually talk to people about this.
Absolutely.
And we're really big advocates about that.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons why we actually do some of these talks, some of the shows we do. We do bring youth on as well, and we're going to do that more this year. We're going to have you sit down with a couple of youth that are very talented already, kind of help explain, and then they can actually talk to, put it in kids' terms.
Yeah. And the big thing is, even if the children have the ability, if they don't want to use it or they don't want to learn any more about it right now, don't push the issue.
Right. That makes sense.
Because my daughter has this ability. My daughter can do what I can do, but it terrifies her. Even though she's researched it, she knows what her mom can do. She knows, all this stuff. It terrifies her. She don't want anything to do with it. She'd just rather like block it, keep it at bay. Once in a while, she still will see something or hear something, but she'll call me and say, "Mom, what's that prayer you got to say again?" But my daughter can do this, and I never pushed it with her. I always knew, even when she was little, because she had an imaginary friend when she was 2. So I always knew, she's seen probably what I'm seeing. Now, back then, I didn't know that it can sometimes run in the family,
which is very prevalent, especially on the female side. It definitely has a history. It's very common for it to really be. Everybody there's several different beliefs about it. Many people believe that, as well do I. I think most of us have the ability or could eventually develop the ability the longer you stay in the paranormal field and you start breaking down your barriers of your belief system. I mean, when we're young, we're taught kind of
I call it my gift, but I honestly do believe that it's a portion of the brain that some people, for whatever reason, becomes active. And for some people, it becomes active over time.
Right.
I truly believe that.
Well, there's some people on right now that didn't start as of only a couple of years ago. They're adults. They're full-grown adults.
Right.
And yet it only started a few years ago. After near death, can you take the antivirus off from me? I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I know people that never experienced anything as a kid or as a teenager, but in their mid-30s or their early 40s are like, why am I seeing things in my house? I've lived in this house forever. Why am I? If they've always been there.
Right.
You've just finally opened to be able to hear it.
Now, going back to teenage years and really not all that long ago, I know to some of you guys it's going to seem like it's a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago, what would happen if you did say that you could see or hear?
Yeah, you would have been sent to a psychiatrist. They would have put you on all different kinds of drugs because you'd have been considered schizophrenic.
Yep.
Or, again, making this up for whatever reason.
Attention, right.
Exactly. And you just didn't, it just wasn't, if you knew you had it, you had it. If you could give someone a message and know that it wasn't going to get out there for the world to know about, then you would. If not, then you wouldn't. Because you just didn't know what was going to be the end result. You didn't know what people were going to do. Even now.
How they're going to react to.
Even now, to this day, I've walked up, you know this, I've walked up to people in grocery stores, at shopping malls. Sean, I'm sure, can attest to this. And sometimes you're met with oh my God, I thank you so much for that. There's no way you could have known that. That was a blessing for me to get that reading. And then sometimes, even though everything you give them is accurate and they confirm everything you give them is accurate, they'll still say, but I don't believe in this kind of thing.
Hang on just a moment.
Janie and Rob, Candace put on her piggybacking on last show when I was saying how it's hard to tell anyone because always negative feedback from people who don't actually believe. I think I block out fear of
Ridicule.
Yeah. And sometimes you can do that without even realizing you're doing it, just because you have that fear in the back of your mind, which is why I believe mine got so much stronger after meeting the team. Because for years I blocked it out for so long because of fear of ridicule that I had that fear stuck in my head. And then when I met the team, it was like, they don't care if I can do
Explain
this.
that for a second, though. You have been on teams before.
Yeah, short periods of time, though.
You've lived in different locations. You
Yeah.
had been on teams, but you were actually kind of in a, quite honestly, your abilities were abused at that time.
Yeah, I was being used for my abilities.
And what was like the worst situation you were used for your abilities?
Bait. I was used,
Literally.
for literal. I know you joke about using
I
me as
am.
bait, but I was literally used as bait. I went to Waverly Hills.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the name of the team. Mind you, I didn't stay on that team very long after that. That night was my last night, actually. It was my second or third week that I was supposed to be with this team, but it was my first big investigation with them.
Okay.
We went to Waverly Hills, dying to get into the place. I'd never been there before, and I thought, you know, I would really like to see what I can feel, what I can see, and see if there's some story to this place that the public doesn't know about. Because believe me, I've been to a lot of places, even in Gettysburg, where what they have written on those plaques in front of those buildings are not the way it went down, not the way I see it. But that, you know, I was anxious to get in there. And we get in there, and there's no electricity. You have to bring your own lanterns and lights and all this stuff with you. Well, they got the bright idea they were going to leave me in a room by myself with a camera on me, because their theory is, which we found to be true sometimes, that spirit are attracted to mediums and psychics.
Sure.
So if we put you in a room, put these cameras on you, and then we'll just leave just outside in the hallway area, we'll see what we can get on these cameras. They left me in this room for probably 4 hours with the door closed.
Really?
In the pitch black. I had no flashlight. I had nothing. They didn't just go right out in the hallway. They went down the steps, out the door, and over into the long lane where their vehicle was parked. I was up there for 4 hours. I was so livid when I got out of there. I was like, you take me home or I'm walking home. I'm not staying here anymore. But some of the things I saw there were absolutely fascinating. But I would never go back there again with that team. I would have never went anywhere else with that team, because they didn't want me to go, and like we do. We go, I do the walk. I let them know where I think the most active spots are.
Yeah.
Or tell them what I'm seeing and let them research and see if this really happened or that really happened. They didn't want that. They wanted somebody they could put on camera to see if they could capture spirit on camera.
Interacting, coming
Yeah.
to you.
And all they got was a bunch of me screaming and using foul language and yelling, open this door. And I never went. I mean, that was the last time I went anywhere with them. And unfortunately, that was my first and last visit to Waverly Hills. And I still believe that would be the most exciting investigation if I ever get to go with.
That's saying something,
team.
considering the investigations we've had so far. So
yeah.
Real quick, go ahead.
Couple shout outs. Chris Smith is on. You get to meet him.
Chris,
by the way.
Jerry,
Yeah,
thanks for being
Chris Smith.
on.
Jerry, Bart, Vicky, and Jenny.
Thank you very much.
Hi
There
guys.
was also a question. Just make sure you tell them that it's not a reading.
Yeah. Definitely, this is not a personal reading going on. So guys, apologize if something were to pop up. Then she would, if she gets something and she throws it out there, then pay attention to it.
With a message for somebody that is so strong that they will come through while I'm concentrating on this, then yes, I will definitely throw that out there.
Shelly, Michelle, Mary, thanks for being on as well. We're trying to give some shout outs as we go through this. You're right. One of them put a comment in, haters will hate. And
yes,
it is very, very true, unfortunately. We're trying to break that down, though. And I think the more that we talk about it, the more we can break that down. Karen, quick shout out to you.
Well, the more open we are about it, the less stigma there is with it.
Correct.
For example, we were just talking earlier upstairs as far as stigma goes.
Yep.
Get this all the time. You don't sound like a medium.
There you go.
You don't dress like a medium. You don't look like a medium. Well, I didn't get the handbook with all the rules and regulations about how I was supposed to dress or how I was supposed to sound. Or I didn't get that. If somebody got it, send me a copy because I didn't get it. Nobody ever told me you're supposed to dress a certain way. And even if they did, I wouldn't because I'm never going to be anything but me.
No doubt.
Never going to be anything but just me.
Stephanie Hoover says hello to Janie.
Hi, Steph. That's my niece.
Okay.
Awesome. Dory, I don't know if we said, gave you a shout out. Lisa, thanks for being on. Dina Lee, thank you. Connie, thanks for being on. First time viewer, great. Glad to have you on.
Hi, Connie. Welcome.
If you guys have questions, you want to have an idea what it's like as far as being a medium and what you go through, especially those that have abilities, we want you to grow your abilities if you want to. We just want you to stop feeling like you're on the outside, that you're weird, that
You're not
broke.
alone, believe it or not. There
Anything
are
like
a lot
that.
more people out there than you would think.
And we want you to understand that very, very from our hearts. I mean, we really mean that, and that's one of the reasons. Again, every year I go ahead and do this with Janie so that you can actually hear it from somebody who actually walks the path ahead of you. That's all we're doing.
Yep.
Casey has, wow, what is a medium supposed to look and sound like?
I have no idea, Miss Casey.
What the one person told you, even your read,
Yeah.
the person, how did she put it?
She said that I didn't sound mystical.
Mystical. There you
I'm
go.
not a fairy. I'm not.
That out for deliberation. Hey, you got those points. I'm just teasing.
I'm not. I don't. For instance, stones. I couldn't tell you what their names are. I couldn't tell you what real mediums supposedly use them for. I know if I'm drawn to a certain stone, it's because of the energy I feel from it.
Right.
Those are the ones I tend to gravitate towards. I've had people say to me, "Oh no, you don't want to carry that one with you." Well, why not? It felt pretty good to me. I go with what works for me, what feels okay for me. I have a crystal. You know this.
Right.
I have a medium-sized crystal. I've carried that thing probably for 10 years now. I carry it because the energy I feel from it calms me. And if I'm calm, I can pick up things more clearly. So it's like my honing device. It helps me to focus in on things. That's why when we go on an investigation where we need really detailed stuff, I'll bring that with me. But other than that, I've seen some beautiful stones. I couldn't tell you what they're supposed to be for. I don't have a clue.
Well, one question for you in particular, what do you do, because some people use stones for defense.
Exactly.
What do you do to protect yourself?
I pray.
Okay.
I pray and usually yell, "Rob!" a lot. A lot. I do.
It's not because I'm picking on her all the time.
No. It's usually because he's got the flashlight and I can get out of wherever I'm at.
Go ahead, you got a shout out.
Chantilly from Sydney.
If we pronounce your
I don't
name
wanna
wrong,
miss-
Chantel, I
Yeah.
apologize.
I usually try to give him a wing. but
Yeah, I don't want to mutilate your name, sweetheart, because it sounds like a beautiful name, but hello.
Look, a lot of people will feel drained.
Yes.
Those that have abilities especially, and those that don't even realize that you have abilities. If you go on a paranormal investigation and you spend any time at it, or even people that really, honestly, I don't feel like I really can feel anything, but then the next day you can be crazy drained
Yes,
from it.
you feel as though
Some
you
people will
ran
be
a marathon.
Very emotionally drained
Mhm.
in a big way.
Yep, absolutely. We've been on some before where I would get drained before we even started the investigation
Right.
all the way. Be like, "Rob, I'm just so tired. I can't hold my head up."
What do you got, Freddie?
Candace, I just want to find a way to deal with the emotional draining. I get so tired around certain people. Their depression weighs on me. I know to ground myself, but some other good tips. Good question.
That's more on the empath side, sweetheart, and you have to learn how to block. And that there are several different ways to do it. You're going to have to research it and try them all until you find the one that works the best for you. There's no one, like I said, there's no handbook. There's no one way that anybody can do it. I have to do it the way it works best for me. You'll have to do it the way it works best for you. Research things, try different things, and believe me, eventually you'll hit on what works for you.
Even with that, now you see, when you see a spirit, we say see a spirit. Now understand, for most of you guys that are out there, when we're talking about seeing it, it seems like you're seeing it with your eyes. It's
Yes.
just as real to you.
To
that you're
me,
seeing it with
it's
your
like
eyes,
I'm seeing it
or
with
hearing
my eyes and hearing it with my ears.
but it's not.
He's informed me I've got a third eyeball somewhere, and that's where I see it from. But I'm telling you, I see it with my eyeballs.
And do you see it as like a person?
It depends.
It can range, right?
Yes. If
For
they're
you.
what I have found to be true for me is if their energy is extremely strong, I can see them as if I'm looking at you. They even look solid. They look like a real person. I've even said to you before, Rob, can't you see that?
Right. Oh,
it looks
most
that
definitely.
solid. But then if their energy isn't quite so strong, or some people that are on the other side haven't quite learned how to build the energy. They may have been over there for 100 years, but if they haven't learned how to build up that energy to use it to communicate, then they're not going to have strong enough energy to show themselves as being solid. So I'll see them like the heat wave off of the road in the summer when you're sitting in your car at a red light and
Like
you see
that
that heat
vapor?
wave.
Yeah.
I'll see that, but it'll be in the shape of a person. And don't ask me how I know, but I will just know if it's male or female. And then sometimes I'll see them where it's not the vapor, it's like a human, but they're see-through.
Okay.
And I'm sure that has something to do with the levels of their energy also. But usually those are the ones, when I see them like that, those are the ones that are from 100 years or older, because they're almost always in black and white.
Things that are basically 100 years or older.
For me,
are
are almost always in black and white. Yeah.
Now, I just want to be clear. Was it Melanie? Is that
Melandi?
all right? We'll get to hers in just a sec. She was just making a comment. I want to get to that for a sec. But for people that have gifts, you can get it in a variety of ways. Some people feel just vibration or frequency. They feel a vibration that comes from. Depending on how high that vibration is or what side it is, tells you if it's a family, if it's a friend, if it's
and
not.
you learn that from experience.
Right.
There'll be so many times that you'll feel that up to here, and you'll automatically know, well, I only feel that in this area when it's a relative, or I only feel it that way if it's, for instance, if I'm doing a reading and there's something medical that I need to pick up for this person, my guides almost always show me a red cross. And over time, I've learned that red cross means that there's something medical going on with that person. If I see a red cross and a headstone, that tells me that whatever is going on with them that's medical is going to be deadly. It's going to be fatal. And I don't like to hurt anybody's feelings or worry anybody, but I have to give what I get. Now, it's rare that I've ever had to give that to anybody. I've had to give medical stuff, but I think there's only twice in the entire time I've been doing this that I've had to tell somebody that I thought they should get their affairs in order. But you just learn over time. When I see that, I know that's what it means. If I see a yellow rose, I know that means friendship, that this person must be a friend because they're showing me a yellow rose. And spirit use different things according to their energy level. If their energy is great, they can pop out and talk to me.
Right.
Right there. If not, they show me symbols, or they'll shoot me just little tidbits of information. I call them puzzle pieces, as you know.
Right.
And then I shoot them out the way I get them, and usually the person that's getting the reading can put them together and see the big picture. But it's different for everybody. Everybody.
If you're getting, again, you might just know. I mean, some people won't even get an image. They just know what the person looks like. They can just distinguish exactly.
Yep.
Some people will get video clips in their head, like a short movie that they'll actually watch. But no different than your dreams, symbolism is a real part to go ahead and take note of. There's a lot of symbols that are used, such as the Red Cross.
Yep.
So that's what we try to tell people. If you go ahead and start writing this stuff down, and just try to
see
keep
a
a log.
repeat of it, then you'll know, okay, that means that, because that happened every time. Well, we went on and you may not even know what any of it means, but going back to the little video clip, we went on an investigation one time, you and myself and Sean and one of our old team members. And I was supposed to be investigating the house, I believe. That was the one that had the dark entity behind the house.
Yes.
By the swing set.
Yes.
And there was a field farther out past the house. I had absolutely no idea what any of it meant, because I was told you're going to come and just walk the property around the house.
Right.
The homeowners are having some experiences. When I got there, I immediately got the pull to that field. Had no idea what it meant, but when I got there, I told Sean, I said, I don't know why, but everything's in black and white. And there's this man in these what looks like waiter boots, and he's walking from that tree to there, and he's stepping things off toe to toe, and I have no idea what this means, but it was like a perfect little black and white video clip going through. And then when I explained it to you guys, even though it meant absolutely nothing, made no sense to me, made perfect sense to you.
Well, because our team member was a reenactor, and it was actually a person who was actually walking from a witness tree. You point at the witness tree that you can't see in the dark.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It was actually a witness tree from the Civil War, and he was pacing off how it was going to be set up. He was one of the early groups that would come in and figure how they're going to set their tents up and their rows and the
I had
streets.
no idea what he was doing. It was the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. This guy in these waiter boots walking toe to toe through a field. I thought, what is he doing?
I just want to reiterate again, for people, no different than the comment right there, as far as it's okay to be scared. It's
Yep.
okay to be nervous from it. It's okay, but you want to start learning about it. The more you learn about it, knowledge is power. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Quick shout out to Rachel, Sandy again. No matter what you're doing in the paranormal field or about the paranormal field, knowledge is power. If you're having a haunted house and you're really having haunted activity, the more you truly understand about it, not false knowledge, that's not really going to help you out a whole lot, but it does help you start to understand a little bit more what's going on.
It does, but I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter how long you do this, doesn't matter how good you think you are at it, that doesn't mean you won't still get scared. Trust me. I've been doing this and seeing these things for most of my life. How many times have we been on location? I said, look, I'm out of here. Because you're still going to get scared. That's human nature. When you see something that frightens you, it's human nature to be afraid of it. If you weren't, you'd be a little nutty. But no, shut up. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It doesn't matter how much you know about it. There are still going to be times when you will become frightened. You can't let that detour you. You can't let that be what defines what you're going to do with the knowledge that you have. And like Rob said, the more knowledge you build from it, the easier it'll become, because now, even though I get the crap scared out of me sometimes and have to run out of a location, I'll always go back. And Rob will even say to me, you don't have to go back in there if you don't want to. Yeah, I do, because I have to prove to myself. I do. I have to prove to myself that even though I'm afraid of it, I'm still going to face it, because they haven't killed me yet. So
now we'll
go with that.
We do negative locations.
We do.
It's not a normal location that you get any issues with.
No, the normal ones I'm okay with. It's some creepy things that crawl up walls and stuff that bothers me.
We're going to jump to Zira's question.
To you, Janie, from Zira. Janie, do you think pretend friends as a child could be a spirit? I had a pretend friend named Jimmy, and I found out when I was older that my mom had an older brother that passed away as a baby named James.
It could have been. I don't remember an imaginary friend as a child, but I had so many dead people on the other side coming at me, I wouldn't have been able to know the difference. I do know that I personally know of one child that had an imaginary friend as a child, and I know from opening my channel and reading that that pretend friend was spirit, and it was relative that was watching over the child. Also, I believe that some children that have gifts, just from experience, I believe this, some children who have gifts, strong gifts at a very young age, I do believe that their guides will guard them and make sure that bad stuff doesn't, because at that age you can't explain to a 5-year-old how to block.
Do you remember?
And they don't want negative stuff coming.
Do you remember the young it was an infant that we went over to not very far away that had more energy?
Oh my God, I held that baby and vibrated. My whole body vibrated just to pick him up.
But had the problem his mom had was the amount of shadow figures
that were coming and going.
Constantly.
She thought it was something negative, and it was actually, he was drawing them in and didn't even, I mean, he's a baby. He could, there's
but
no
he
way
was
he could have known it.
radiating.
Yep.
At the time, that was the most energy you had felt from an individual, and it was an infant.
A little baby, yeah. Little baby. So yeah, I think sometimes it could be a relative, or it also could be guys.
Slow down for just a sec. What did was it Richard?
You can tell she is real, not like many we see who just put on a show.
Thank you, Richard. We do quite often. We do our investigations live, and you can actually watch and see what she can pick up on at locations. And unfortunately, and look, there's fake investigators out there. There's nothing you have to be an investigator. You want to go online, I can pull up the website for you for 3 hours for, I think it was, what was it, $29.99? You can be a psychic. You know?
I wonder if they got the handbook.
I could do it in 2 hours.
That's the BS flag throwing out there. So it's a great point, Richard. There are fakes out there. And look, if you've not been around one, then hold off on it until you can personally experience one for yourself. And when you do talk to a medium or psychic or whatever you want to call, or the person wants to call themselves, slow down and please don't give them anything.
No.
Give them your first name and you're done.
That's what I ask for if I'm doing a reading over the phone. I just need your phone number and a first name. And that's only because I don't want to be rude and call you asshole. Sorry.
She does call that.
But no, the first name is all I really need. And if there is message there, then the guide can give it to you without any other information from the client. Now, when I'm reading, I do ask for validation. Don't give me information, but if I've given you information and you understand what that means, just say to me, I understand that, or I know what that means. That way I know that what I'm picking up on is for you. Because when you open that channel, it's just like opening your front door. Anybody and anything can come in. So I want to make sure what has connected with me is for you.
How often, though, when as soon as you say, okay, you've got this, there's a gentleman next to you, he's got his hair parted on the side, comes over from this side to that side, he wears glasses, heavy set, how often are they ready to give you more information?
Oh, a lot. A lot of them will say, oh my God, I know who that is, and
Slow
he's this,
down.
he's this. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me finish giving what I'm getting, and then you can give me some information if you want to when your read is finished. That way I know what I'm getting for you is what you're supposed to have. But no, what you see is what you get. If I pick it up, I'll give it to you. And people will say to me, well, don't you get a name? Well, if I did, I told you. If they would give me a name and it was that easy where I could just open a channel and say, give me your name, who you relate it to, and what you want me to tell them, we wouldn't have to go through all of this. But unfortunately, they don't. They'll give you little tidbits of information.
Do you backtrack on that? Do you ever get names?
Sometimes, but very rare. I remember most of the time when I get a name, it's for you to find a graveyard or something like that.
I know on investigations we've gotten names,
Yeah.
so that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, sometimes you do, but not always. If they did that all the time, and they'll say, well, can you ask my grandma this, and can you ask my grandma that? I don't get your grandma. And if I did, I can ask her all day long, but it's a matter of they only have so much energy to use, the ones who actually know how to draw energy. So they usually just throw out pieces here and there that they feel like will be the most important thing to strike a memory for you or to validate something for you. I give you what I get.
Not just words.
No, not just words.
Hold that thought for a second.
Couple shout outs to Gail, Vicky, Ron, and Sarah.
Hi, guys.
And Richard just said, "Atta girl, sometimes we need to be shaken with words like that."
Sorry. No, it's good.
No,
it's good.
No, that's good.
But no, you give what you get. If I look, how many times have I said to a client where you were there and they would say to me, but are you sure you don't get this or that? No, I'm sorry, I don't.
And
how many times have we went on location and I was like, Rob, I don't pick
somebody will actually
here.
take an object, go, oh, tell me what you feel with this, but you're not drawn to it.
No.
Quit leading. If you have somebody come to your house, don't try to lead them.
No.
Let them go.
That's why when we go, you always tell client ahead of time, look, I'm not going to give her any information, but when we get there, just, is there anywhere she can't walk? Because usually I'll get out of the car and just go.
You're gone, right.
I don't want to talk to the client first because I don't want them to throw anything out there right away. But no, you get that a lot from people. Well, are you sure? And I know a lot of people who say they're a medium or a psychic who will build with that. They'll say, well, do you get this? Well, yeah, I do. No, if I don't, I don't. And seriously, how many times have we been to location and there's been other mediums there with us or psychics, and they say, oh, but I pick one particular one. Well, name no names.
Woosa, calm down.
Seen a little girl everywhere we went. Well, this little girl must have been attached to her because I never seen that child. I never seen that child. But they would say, well, don't you pick that up? No. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm positive. If I saw a child standing there, I would tell you. But you get that from people. They try to coax you into saying things just to validate something for themselves. And I'm not going to do that. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I will only give you what I get. If I can't get enough information to satisfy your curiosity, I'm sorry, but I'm only going to give you what I get.
What do you have, Freddie?
Amy, named Amy Oberman. I have a question. When I was a young girl, I would see dead people all the time. It started out by me having an imaginary friend when I was 4. I still remember him today, and I'm 47. But as for now, I don't see them anymore. But I've heard many names called "Have I lost my gift?"
I don't think you can lose it once you've had it. I think maybe for whatever reason, you've decided to block it. Maybe even your subconscious has decided to block it for whatever reason. And I think that if you practice with it, and meditation is key for me. It really is. I think that you'd be amazed what might start working for you again.
Another one from Tina Ross. So why do I get stupid stuff like, why do I need to know that so and so takes out their own trash? I didn't even who the person was until I looked them up. It was somebody famous, but apparently not that famous because I didn't know who they were.
I get stupid stuff all the time for people. Doesn't mean anything to me, but it may mean something major for them.
That goes along with another question here from Candace. Do you get feelings just in general passing of people?
She does all the time.
Where
She actually has
told
to
say
stop.
something, stranger or not. Yeah.
And if she doesn't say it, what happens?
It goes home with me.
It goes back and just keeps bugging. Slow down just a sec, because you got a few different new people on right offhand. I want to give a couple quick. Jane, thanks for being on. Cheryl, thank you so much. Go up just a little. Can you go up?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I'm just trying to look at the.
Sure, Sherry.
Sherry, thanks for being on. Cheryl as well. I know there's a couple others offhand.
Hi, guys. I can't see the names unless I do this. I can see them when I lean over. These contacts are working.
Back to your side of the table.
These contacts are working.
Another Sandy Hickey's on.
Hi,
Hey,
Sandy.
Sandy. Had a few things I want to make sure we touch on, though. But again, slow down. First of all, David, thanks for being on. Appreciate you being on very much. It's really important for you guys to understand that if you have abilities, especially the empathic part is really the hardest for most people to get over with this. When empathic means you're able to feel other emotions, and it's not always your own. And it's, hold on to that one for a sec. It's not always your own by far. A lot of times you're picking up from everybody around you, both living and in the past. So It makes it very difficult for people to understand why all of a sudden they crash. If you have crash emotionally, because negative energy like that is very, very strong. So it's really easy for you to take it. Most people that are empathic and are stuck on that part also have what their doctor considers anxiety issues. Not saying you don't, but a lot of people feel very anxious or have a lot of anxiety, and it's not always your anxiety. It's you're just overflowing with so much information coming into your head at the same time. Glenn says, what does it mean when someone says that there's lots of energy around me, bright white light, and some blue? What does that mean?
Again,
we do know that white is positive.
I do know that white is very positive. A white light usually means that you're being protected, either by your guide or someone has asked that there be a white light of protection around you, but it could be different for everybody. I don't have a handbook or a dictionary I can go through and say, oh, this means this for you, this means this for you. If I were to see you in person and be able to connect with your energy on more of a personal level, I may be able to pick up more, but I honestly can't give you a firm answer for that because I'm not completely sure.
There's the difference is Janie gets you what she knows. She's not going to make something up just so she sounds like she's intelligent about this part of it. What she is good at is what she is good at, and the rest of it she'll put to the side. She's one of the first you're going to hear that's going to actually do this. She doesn't try to make up stuff for you. That way you have reality.
And even what I feel like I'm getting better at isn't as good as most. I mean, it's not as good as most by far.
Okay, I'm a little dumbfounded by that statement.
No, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of
investigations,
other mediums and psychics out there that are way better at it than I am. But I know a lot of people who say, well, I have abilities, but I really don't think that I could do what you do, or I don't think I could do this. When I met you, I had not a clue I could do anything other than hear all these dead people in my head all the time or see them all the time. And then once I got with you, you opened up all new avenues. You were like, well, do you think you could do a walk of a property over the phone from a distance? And I was like, I've never tried that, but if you want me to try, I will. I won't make any promises, but I will. We did it. Lo and behold, I could do it. Well, do you think that you could do a remote viewing for me without being on location? Well, I have never done that, but I would have never thought to try those things had I not had someone to push me to it.
That's the point I want to make with Candace. Candace, or anybody who, dream is a state of communication. There's a lot of people that get communication through dreams. It just means that because it's easier, you're calmer during a dream. You have obviously your different, deep sleep, your REM stage.
Yeah.
You have different phases you go through, but if there's certain times that it's easier for them to go ahead and actually connect to you. Rick Wade is on. Rick, thanks for being on, buddy.
Hi, Rick.
Another very talented, very gifted individual who's on right now, which is great. So dreams, just because you can take there's things that can happen to you that you can go ahead and block, as where some people feel like they used to always get it in their dream and something could happen. if you're not, especially if you go through depression or something's happening in your life and you're overwhelmed, your spirit guides can go ahead and pull back on it and not give you as much information at a particular time. Don't, if you're looking to be more on it, then meditation is a definite positive way. That's a real dog.
Yeah.
Just put it out
No,
there.
that's a real pony. That dog is as big as a horse.
There's a Richard on says, how can I keep in touch with the guests? I mean, a link or something. I don't think we mentioned like Janie's page and.
Actually,
Again, I don't know. They have to tell you.
We're going to go ahead and put Janie's name on, and do you know how to get to her? Pull it up real quick on yours. Pull up Janie's. We will go ahead and make sure we put the link to Janie's page if you want to go ahead and follow up with Janie. She does have a particular page you can go on and actually follow up with Janie. She's also on our team page, which is at the very top. Sorry about the dog barking. Either eat them or shut up. I mean, seriously. And Janice, thanks for being on.
You might want to check. Somebody might be breaking into your house up there.
And she'll get to them if they are. Oh my gosh. You guys.
They'll be fine.
Continue. I apologize.
Any questions for me, Miss?
I put your link in, so
Okay,
here's
good.
EPS Medium.
Good.
So y'all can send her a message if you like. So she'll get it to it within a week, or no, just
A
when you
week.
can. Yeah, you can.
I do work a lot of hours, but I do try to check my messages at least a couple of times a week, and I get to you when I can. It's sometimes late when I get home, so it's not always early. If you send one in the morning, you may not hear from me until that afternoon, but I do.
Just
To get
reiterate
back to
again
people.
that you're not doing private readings because people still.
No, I'm
come
not
on
doing
asking for
private
that.
readings today. This is for questions about abilities.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people who are coming out that have abilities or waking up, learning that they possibly have abilities. They might have had them when they were younger or thought they had them, or some people never even knew, or they had a near-death experience and all of a sudden they're
Somebody
awake.
might have some weird stuff happening to them, and they're concerned that there's a medical issue, and just be scrolling through and see this and be like, you know what? Oh my God, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not schizophrenic.
Which is
You know
huge.
what I mean?
Real quick.
Real quick, Sherry, Janie, to you, Janie, Sherry Fox, actually truly need your help. So
Sherry, if you do, then make sure either go through our page, the link at the top, or go on to Janie's page. All you got to do is type in Janie Harris. Her page will pop up right there on the search bar in Facebook.
It's Janie Harris EPS Medium because I have two pages. I have my personal page and then I have the team page.
Type in Janie Harris, and both those pages are going to pop up, give you an option. But look
Yep.
for the EPS Medium.
From McCardle was on.
And
Grow and burn a lot of white sage with my severe brain injury, a lot of activity here. Again, when people have either a near-death experience or they're extremely open, you become that light. When you have abilities, the best way to explain it is if you're on the other side, or for us, you're lost in the woods, it's dark, and you see a house with a light on, are you going to go to it? People with abilities are like that. You put off this type of energy that goes out, and those on the other side understand that you can connect. They can that you can hear, see, or sense, or feel them, so they're going to be drawn to you.
Yep.
shout out to Philip.
Philip!
Hi, Phil.
David, thanks for being on. Things thrown, big boom sound at night in living room, back bedroom. I think my son prayed to Satan as a kid.
Oh, honey, you got some stuff going on there. Oh,
Again, there are we're taking it for your word. Obviously, people can come on, they can type anything they want. People that really do have activity that's going on, using that in particular. Who was that just now? Can you go up just one?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just try to go up if you can. David, in your situation, if when we get a client, and it's great to see more teams going with mediums, psychics, it's wonderful to see, because what happens is when we get a location, it might be across the country, it could be somewhere that it's a lot easier for me to utilize Janie. She can actually go ahead, I can put her in touch with the client. All she gets is a first name and a phone number. She can actually call and say, okay, and she'll actually walk them through their house and tell them what they're experiencing in their house. She can tell me pretty much right offhand if it's just a joke, if it's nothing real, they're just doing it, they're making the hype up themselves, or excuse me, or if there's actually something happening there. True.
True. I've also had people do that where they're trying to out me.
Right.
They just know I'm fake, so they're going to say they got all this going on and have me do a walk, and if I give them information, then they'll know I'm a fake. I can't tell you how many times I've done this with people, and I've said, what are you doing? There's nothing going on in your house. How many times have I said to you, Rob, these people are full of it. There ain't nothing going on here.
Couple quick shout outs to Jennifer McCart, Tom McCart, and
I already said hi to Jen.
Craig Williams.
Hi,
Craig, thanks for being on. Real quick for Craig in particular, I do want to throw it out there. Guys, please keep Craig in your prayers. We sincerely appreciate it. He's dealing with cancer. He just got the news just recently. He's dealing with quite a bit of cancer, and he needs to get rid of that shit so he can be our moderator and keep on going with it. Right, Craig?
Right.
Ain't got time for that crap. Get rid of it.
You got this, Craig.
From Pam. During live feeds, are you okay with people throwing impressions or names out there? Or do you just roll your eyes and think, oh, go away?
What do you mean? I'm just going to roll my eyes because I don't know what you're talking about.
If you guys have something in particular, you guys are more than welcome to always throw out. When we're doing lives, we love for people, especially if somebody believes that they might have abilities, we are asking you for any of your insight.
Yes, absolutely.
Can somebody pick up, can somebody who's watching actually pick up something different that you haven't picked up?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I've been on location where if it's meant to be for me to get the information to give it, I'll get it. If it's not, I could be there all night long and not pick up anything, and then somebody else walk in right behind me and pick up everything just like that.
You telling me that there's a possibility that you will not pick up something?
Oh my God, yeah. Are you kidding me?
I just want them to be able to hear it, that's all.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's like me. What do you do for your job? You're a safety guy, right?
Right.
People still get hurt, don't they?
Not on my watch, but yeah.
They still get hurt, do they not? I'll bet you there's a lot of them doing a lot of unsafe stuff that you don't know about.
Nope. I got plenty of concrete. Nope.
Yeah, okay.
Hold as much as you can.
But no, seriously, I mean, I've been
Yeah,
on
you're right.
location before with another medium and another psychic, and they picked up all kinds of information. I literally got none of it. And I know what they were getting. I knew the one was real. The other one, but I knew the one was real. So I know that they weren't fibbing about it, that they were getting what they were saying they were getting, but I didn't get the information. It wasn't meant for me. It's just like getting a phone call. If somebody wants to talk to you, they're going to pick up the phone and dial your number. If they want to talk to Sean, they're not going to dial your number. They're going to dial his.
Reason I put it out there is because we do know that, unfortunately, people with abilities feel under pressure that they have to produce.
I don't.
And that's not, it's something that people need to understand. Relax, slow down. If you don't get something, don't fake it. There's nothing worse than, because all you do is
Exactly.
fake it one time, and nobody wants to have anything to do with you.
Exactly.
We had a person one time who was watching, and I thought she had abilities. You know, she's one of the viewers that watched and was doing really well. And then we had a client who was very, very smart. He's very intelligent. Well, he comes to us and goes, hey, who is this person? Because she's following Wikipedia. Everything about our location, which was a public location, but she's going line by line that Wikipedia has,
Right.
talking about a baseball team or anything else that we don't know the name of that was, 30, 40 years ago.
And again, this is
Everything.
why you don't give me any information.
Correct.
That way nobody can ever say that I looked something up ahead of time. As a matter of fact, I've given you information through time-stamped text message
Absolutely.
weeks before we even knew we had an investigation. I've handwritten it out a week before an investigation and said, Rob, I don't know when this is going to happen, but hang on to this because it's
Clients
coming.
keep those.
Yes.
Clients would not even give them back to us because they're so accurate. A question for you. Go ahead.
Nalandi.
Getting ready to throw that one out
might
there.
be right. Question for Janie. Would spirits try to jump you if they are just trying to tell you their message, or is it more of a negative spirit I should block as much as possible?
It depends, because what you might see as being jumped might be their way of trying to get your attention. You're not paying attention to me. I need you to pay attention. So it depends on whether or not they're truly trying to jump you, excuse me, or they're just trying so hard to get your attention. And if they are truly trying to jump you, then yeah, you should probably learn to block and use protection.
I'm way behind, guys.
I know. We're up to
Fred, he was
102.
born
But there's a lot of
honey.
questions that I want to make
I
sure
bet you were an overdue child.
Look, if we do not get to your question right away, we sincerely apologize. We're definitely trying to go through and catch any of the questions you have offhand.
Jennifer just verifying some stuff that she picked up horse hooves and a child getting ran over just by being next to Janie.
It does happen. I mean, again,
But Jen has some abilities too. I mean, she may not know that she does, or I'm sure she knows she has some because she has to feel that and pick. She knows she picked it up, so she knows she has some abilities. But Jen has some pretty strong abilities herself, and I think maybe the energy of the two of us together helped her to be a little stronger, because it even made me feel a little stronger in the vibrations that I picked up that night. So
Candace would like to do a reading sometime, Janie. So
go
she
to my
also-
page and send me through the messenger on my page your email.
Go back down one line for her, please.
I'm sorry.
She had activity in her house, and she's trying to find out. Also, is there a way that you can help me with activity in my home? Since my baby was born in May, activities have increased.
And where is she from?
And is it a daughter that you have, out of curiosity? Yeah, I'll explain why when we get to it. It's going to take us a little bit before we get down to there. Bonnie just put on Janie's link, so please feel free to contact Janie. Please, may I ask, when I was in my 20s, I used to see spirit while I'm looking at you, but now I hear and see what they show me through pictures. May I ask, why don't I see them? And
I don't need the pictures, please. 3 pictures, please.
number one, what would you suggest? Talk to your spirit guides.
Ask your guide if you want to see them in a different way. Ask your guide. Let me clarify something for everybody. When I say my guides, I mean my guardian angels. Okay, I refer to them as guides because I don't want to offend anybody's religion. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not religious, but I am very spiritual. But I do believe that they are guardian angels. I call them guides because each of us are given to help guide us in our path in life and keep us where we're supposed to be, and keep us away from certain things that we need to be away from. But ask your guides. Believe me, that's what they're there for, to guide you. If you ask them, please show me if this information is important enough for spirit to want me to give it, then I need it to come through more clearly. Meditate and do the best you can with it. It's all through trial and error.
Guys, I know this is a live interview as far as with our medium, and it's not readings per se, and I apologize for everybody that are waiting, they want contact with somebody on the other side, and I sincerely apologize. That's not really what it's about. Right now, it's for you guys to go ahead and be able to ask, and especially for those of you that are starting out or realizing you have abilities. For people that are involved in the paranormal field, I know you just dropped a bunch of comments, dropped off. That's okay. We'll get to them. We'll still answer. We'll still go back and even type answers in.
Right.
For those that are experiencing it and have been in the paranormal field for a while, the whole point of it is when you're born, you don't know right from wrong. You don't know racism. You don't know any of that crap. And unfortunately, society teaches us what we're supposed to believe in, what we're not supposed to believe in. The paranormal, guess what? Most of what we're taught can exist, does exist. So a lot of us get filtered out with accidental brainwashing, let's put it that way. Some people do not, and they continue to grow their abilities. Now it's a lot easier for somebody to grow the abilities because the stigma is not nearly as bad as it was back, 1 or 2 generations ago. So that will increase. If you have a near-death experience, that could trigger so that all of a sudden you open up and now you're more open to the possibilities. When you start learning to open yourself to the possibilities, you start dropping these rules and regulations in this box that we live in, then you have the ability to grow with that.
There's been a lot of quick questions. I don't know if you can or not. People want private readings. How can they reach you to get a private reading?
If you go to my Janie Harris EPS Medium page and message me from that page your email address, I'll send you an invoice. Once the invoice is paid, I'll contact you with dates for you to pick from for your reading. I do not put a time limit on my readings. I don't put a limit as to how many questions you can ask me when the reading is finished. The only thing I ask for is a phone number and a first name. And then we'll go from there with your reading.
Michelle has a really good question. How do you know that they are your spirit guides? I see and hear spirits, but I do not know if they're when my guide is present.
For me, I can tell you how this has worked for me. With my guides, I know they're my guides because they're the same. I know the voices. They're the same ones I've heard since I was 9 years old.
Okay.
They've never changed. And they usually give me personal information about a person to validate for that person so that they'll pay attention to what I'm saying to get the reading they need to get.
So even when you're starting, especially a skeptic, I've been around, so I've seen this happen with skeptics. So even though you could get something for a skeptic that is not necessarily from a spirit, a person on the other side that knows them. It could be from your spirit guide.
I will sometimes pick up information from my guides. I'll sometimes get information from spirit. I'll sometimes get information from both. But usually what happens is my guides will, if I'm not picking up spirit, because let's face it, it doesn't matter how many people are on the other side that are your relatives. If they didn't leave this world with anything unspoken, or they don't feel like you're in need of a message from them, they're not going to give it. But the guides will always give me personal information to validate for that person that what I am picking up for them is meant for them. For instance, I can't tell you how many times I've given readings to people and they say, well, I was really hoping I could contact my husband. Well, I hope you could too, but I don't pick up your husband. Well, do you pick up anything? Yes, I can give you some information just to validate for you that this is meant for you. And then you proceed to give them personal details. This happened to you. This happened to you. This is what happened in your car just on your way home from work today. These are people that have never spoke to me before. This is what's going to happen. Sometimes the guides will give me information for these people for something that's going to happen in the near future, because it veers them back onto the path they're supposed to be on. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. And even mannerism.
Yeah.
Way somebody wants you to present that message.
Yes, because he didn't give me a name. Got no name whatsoever. But they'll say to me, I want you to tell them this and say it exactly like this. So then I have to do it exactly the way I see him doing it and say it exactly the way they're saying
and
it.
You've even gotten into people's face, and they would freak out because that's exactly the way the person talks.
Oh my God, that's the way they talk. But you just got to give it the way you get it.
4 minutes, just for an hour. That's it. 4 minutes.
Okay, you guys all right going a little bit longer? Let's go ahead and go.
Good when
Let's just keep going because this is really good.
Thank you so much for sharing. She's been putting up the stuff there.
Thank you, Sandy.
David Baker wants to know how much are your readings.
Our readings are $40, and like I said, I don't put a time limit. They can last anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours. Depends on what I pick up and how long we need to go with it.
Janie just started doing actual phone readings at home in her time, only because we kept pushing her to do them. It only makes sense. She works a lot of overtime so that she can go ahead and have gas money. She lives 2.5 hours away. So for them to come down and go to a lot, hold that up right there. For them to go ahead and come down all the time, as much as we go out to different locations, why she worked overtime. Well, I would prefer for her to go ahead. She's changed a lot of lives with the readings she's given. I know she's true. I know she's absolutely dead on. She will give you valid information. It's not this fake BS that somebody's going to pay an arm and a leg for and then not even get a true reading. I know that's not the case. So we pushed her into doing this. She never wanted to go ahead and actually even be charging for them. We've had locations where all of a sudden I'll set somebody down with her. There's no charge for anything. When we go to sites, there's no charge for anything.
I do not charge for anything I do with the team. If EPS is on investigation or they've contacted Rob and Rob has put me in touch with someone, that's for the team. That's free of charge because the team doesn't charge for anything.
I just want you guys to understand the difference. That is a definite difference. And I understand that people do charge reasonable amounts to do this and get paid for it, and that's what they do for their living, and that's cool. I'm not.
Believe me, it's not what I do for a living.
Helen, thanks for being on. Can I open myself up to receive messages from my mom? Sorry.
I believe you could if you have even if you don't have abilities. I believe you could if you meditate and just keep at it. I mean, it may not happen in an hour or in a day or in a week or even in a year. But I think if your mom has a message for you, then if you meditate and train your mind to be still so that you can hear whatever message she may have, I believe you could get that either in dream or even in just knowing in your head and not knowing how you know. But it just varies. I'm a medium. My mom's been dead for almost 6 years. I've never had a conversation with her since she passed. I mean, I've only seen her once since she passed away. Because the second time we know wasn't my mom.
Right.
But a parent sense, because knowing my mother, she would want to be with one of her children that she knew needed her the most.
Right.
She knew I was a very strong, independent individual. She knew my brother was a very strong, independent individual. And I truly believe that my mother hangs with my younger sister, which is a little off track right now, to say the least.
Right.
But I truly believe that, and I believe that that's why she hasn't came to me. And I don't call her in because I don't want to interfere with what she may have going on over there. You know
Makes
what I mean?
sense.
There are things that on the other side they need to accomplish to reach the next level. And I don't want to interfere with that. If she has a message for me, she'll come to me. And if she doesn't, I'm okay with that. Then we'll talk when I get there.
But people also have to remember, though, leave an open mind. It doesn't have to be communication as far as in speech. Doesn't mean you have to hear it.
It could be a sign. It could be a sign.
And there's plenty of signs that people get. We had a client.
Overlook.
She always, Janie hadn't even walked into her bedroom or anything. She says you keep something that you keep finding. They're round. They're only about so big. They're flat, and you keep them in a shoebox, and you're keeping them under the far side of your bed, under your bed. It was dimes. You know, again, the woman had a whole shoebox of dimes that she kept getting from her son that she had lost. But you see how that works.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes a reading may not even consist of message from spirit, but information from the guides to help you with something mentally that you're going through. I can't tell you how many readings that I've done where there was no message whatsoever from spirit, but there was lots of validation from the guides that helped this person go from being depressed to knowing there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And then a week or two later, get a phone call that says, you know what, you were absolutely right. I got that new job. That happened just not too long ago. I'm not going to mention names, but I got that new job. Financial stuff is looking better. It's not as desperate as I thought it was going to be. Thank you so much for telling me that, because that picked my spirits up and I was able to get through it until I did get the new job. So it's not always a message from the dead, because not everybody's on the other side has a message. I'm sorry, they just don't. But sometimes it's validation for the person to help them get through something that they've been going through mentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For those that have suffered loss, what has been one of the more significant messages that we've heard repeated over from different locations, from suicides to other locations?
The biggest one I get is, I just want to know that they're okay. I just want to know that they're not suffering.
And then from the other side, what has come back from the other side?
From the other side is, I just want them to live. I want them to live. I don't want them to focus on my death. I don't want their life to be about my death, because then you're not living your life the way you were intended to. And they don't want to be the cause for that. They don't want to be the one that interferes with your life's path.
I think it's really
I get that all the
important for people
time
to
from
know.
spirit. Please, I can't tell you how many times spirit has told me, please tell my brother, don't sit around and dwell on my death all the time. I want him to live. Tell him if he wants to do anything for me, live for me.
You're here to live, and that's what they want you to know. You're here to live.
You can't dwell on someone's death all the time, because then you're not living your own life the way you were meant to live it.
Candace was the one who was talking about the activity picking up ever since the baby was born, asked if the baby was a girl.
Yes.
Most likely the baby girl also has a high amount of energy, and again is attracting more to your house.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's anything bad.
No, it
there are
doesn't.
ways to protect that, as far as to help protect that.
Yep. And a lot of people will perceive every little thing that happens as something bad.
Yes. That's unfortunate. But
Yeah, because that's not always the truth. How many times have I been scratched? Now, some of it was bad. We're not going to even lie.
correct.
But sometimes it's just spirit trying to get attention. I'm focused over here trying to give a reading for something going on here. This person's back here trying to give me information about something they want to give to somebody. I'm not paying attention. You reach out and try to get my attention. You get a scratch on the neck. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Candace was the one you asked earlier about. You asked where she was from.
Yes.
Yes.
And if she was a girl, if the baby was a girl, and you said you get back to that. I don't know if that.
Yeah, that's
okay,
what we just
okay,
talked
yeah.
about.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies.
It just made sense why the activity picked up. It's very prolific for if there's if the mother has abilities, especially any strong abilities, the child is very likely to have abilities,
Especially
if
a
it's a little
female
girl.
child. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that boys can't have abilities or men can't have abilities. They certainly do. Ask Rick. He's on earlier, so he definitely has plenty of abilities. Do the ones who pass on do the things they loved here, being on earth, up in heaven? Do they do the same thing up in heaven? Do they do bingo, dancing, sewing, whatever?
Okay,
Karen, thanks for being on.
I have to address this, because
Go ahead.
not everybody may not believe this, and your beliefs are completely yours. I'm completely fine with that. So let's not get any hate mail. But as somebody who was raised Baptist, Southern Baptist at that, I don't believe anybody's in heaven or hell right now. I don't.
Okay.
So when people come to me and say, oh, no, my grandma went to heaven. No, she didn't. No, well, I'm a Christian. I know she did. If you're a Christian, then you know she didn't, because the Bible tells us plainly that nobody gets to heaven or hell until the second coming of Christ, which is Judgment Day. That hasn't happened yet. So therefore, spirit is free to do what they want to do. If heaven for them is laying on the riverbank fishing all day long, then that's what they're going to be doing in the spirit world. They're going to be laying on a riverbank somewhere all day long. If it is maybe their favorite thing to do was to sit in the living room with their wife or their husband and just watch TV or just be there with them, then that's what they're going to be doing in the spirit world. And then they have other things on the other side that they have to do too. So it just depends.
Quick shout out, Amy, Jean, Eileen,
Nathan.
Who else did you have? Nathan.
Yeah.
Guys,
Hi,
I'm just trying to give some shout outs to you guys. What did Eileen have?
When I was sleeping and woke up and my dog was up in the middle of the bed barking, can you tell me who it is and why? Please, really scared me.
That's really, I mean, that's unfortunate.
I couldn't tell you who it is, but next time it happens, turn on a recorder. See what you can pick up. I mean,
to that point, when when you're doing a read, would you allow somebody to go ahead and take notes or use a recorder? Would you suggest it?
Absolutely. We tell them all the time. Just about every one that I do, they're recording it. They'll tell me at the beginning, is it okay if I record this? Absolutely. And usually if they don't mention it, I'll say, please get a pen and a piece of paper. I'd like for you to write things down, because sometimes I get what I like to call hitchhikers. It may not be any information that I'm giving, may not be meant for you whatsoever, but when I opened my channel, there was a spirit on the other side who knows that you are in contact with the one they want to talk to. So they see you as the middleman. They'll pop through and give me information. It may not pertain to you, but it pertains to somebody in your inner circle, meaning family or very close friend. So I tell them, if it doesn't make sense, jot it down. Mention it to your family and your friends, because it means something for somebody.
Robert, to your question, as far as does it run in families? Yes, abilities do tend to run in the families. Most of the side is on the girls. Mary, I have boys and one girl. Many abilities. My daughter has had spirits come to her. It's just more likely to be stronger on the female side. Does not mean it cannot go through the males. I mean, there are plenty of males that have a lot of that are very, very
very
talented.
strong abilities. Yes.
It's a matter of, if they get told, it's no different than imaginary friends. I mean, imaginary friends can be imaginary. Imaginary friends can be a spirit on the other side where they're seeing the same spirit coming to them constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also, as a parent, you can turn around and start trying to tell them that's just that's your imagination, that's not true. And eventually there goes the brainwashing. You're not trying to do it on purpose most of the time, but there you go. You can unfortunately start making them block, and they don't even realize it.
Subconsciously blocking it out because they know they've been told so many times that's not real.
Sandy, can you put the link up again as far as for Janie?
Bonnie just did.
Bonnie did. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bonnie.
To answer your question, Mary. Again, if we've missed anybody's questions, absolutely apologize. It's not on purpose. We will be going back through all the questions and answering, giving you guys answers for them.
Colette, I would like a reading, Janie, sometime soon via a video call, if that's okay. I'm in the UK.
I don't usually do video, Colette, and I'll tell you why, because my video pops in and out so much on my phone. But I do over the phone readings, and we can do that no matter where you live. So if you want to go to my EPS page, Janie Harris EPS, and send me your email through the messenger there, we can work something out, I'm sure.
Because Colette's from the UK, right?
Yeah, and it's 5-hour difference in time. Question, what does 3 scratch marks on the back of your neck represent? As I remember a long time ago, I was just sitting watching TV and I got burning feeling on my neck and I found 3 scratch marks. Well, drop that one right away, because the first thing that's going to come up,
gets 3.
everybody wants to say 3 is the mocking of the Trinity. Trust us, from as much as we do, there couldn't be anything further from the truth.
That's not always true, no.
It freaks people out, and look, most locations don't go by where we go. Most locations that you're going to go to is definitely not going to be negative. So if you get 3 scratches, look, man.
Yeah, and the thing of it is,
if 3 fingers reaching for
yeah,
you are
if
longer.
you look at your hand, nobody has Flintstone fingers that are all the same length. So when someone reaches out to scratch, it's the fingers that are the longest that are going to touch you. They may just be trying to get your attention.
All right, perfect one. Karen, thank you for sharing that one. Janie, what is your take on autistic children being able to tap into supernatural abilities?
I absolutely believe that. I think that they are probably more in tune with spirit than the rest of us.
Yep.
Because they haven't been brainwashed, and because parts of their brain that don't function where they're supposed to, or where everybody says they're supposed to, I think they make up for that with parts of the that do function and are open, just like some autistic children are also savants,
Yes.
where they may not be able to speak a full sentence, but they can rattle off numbers just like that. So I do believe that they are more in tune with spirit and the other side than most of us are.
For everybody that's been sharing and whatnot, we sincerely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We really
Thanks,
do.
guys.
That means a lot to us.
David shared the Twitter for us.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, David.
That's awesome. Feel free to check out our page. It's right at the very top. You can find our link to our pages at the very top. And I know a few people have already put it on there a couple of times. The link, go to our link, check out. There's plenty of videos. You can see videos, some other videos, you with the dowsing rods multiple times. You'll actually see Janie during some of our investigations, and we do have plenty of evidence on there as well. What we're always trying to do, as far as from a team standpoint, Janie can will read a location, but unfortunately for me, I can't just go with the read that she gets. Quick shout out to Ernie.
Hey, Ernie.
Hi, Ernie.
I can't just go by what Janie gets, regardless how many times, 100 locations, she gets 100 things. What doesn't matter. I still need to have something to confirm what she's picking up on. We as a team need to be from some of what she's picking up on. And when we're doing them live, and we have this happen a number of times, KOA, we turn around and she's saying there's a little girl there. And there was a few people that were watching was saying there's a little girl there. And then we got this little girl's voice during a live feed. You can hear the little girl going, touch the doggy, or sounds like something like that.
Doggy, yeah.
But you could hear her voice, captured.
And sometimes I don't even have to be there. Like there was a time when you guys were at the KOA at a cabin, and Sean and I weren't even there yet. And it was a team member's birthday, so we were running late because I was bringing a cake for her. But I got there, and the minute I walked in the door, I didn't even know why. I wasn't even trying to open a channel. I picked up a male's name, and I was like,
Paul.
Okay, what the heck's going on with this guy? And everybody just looked at me like, what did you say? I was like, what's going on with this Paul guy? So you don't always even have to be focused on what you're doing or have a channel open. If it's strong enough and wants to come through, it will.
Well, we actually were at two team members earlier, previous team members. We were at their wedding reception, and you turned around. You were sitting like 2 or 3.
Yeah, that one I don't remember much of until it was over with, and you were like, you were gone. I'm thinking, I didn't even drink anything yet. What do you mean I'm gone?
She was about we were at the round tables, and she was about 2 or 3 seats away from me, and then she looked at me. We were going to a very negative location, and her eyes just turned jet black, and I couldn't even make out what the hell she was saying as far as the language it was in. I couldn't even tell you, but it was channeling.
I don't remember
through
a
her
bit of it
at that point.
Not a bit of it.
And she can't even tell you.
I could not even tell you until you told me it happened. I would have never known it happened.
So there can be some strange times.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, real quick. Janice says, do all spirits give off cold spots?
Necessarily. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll give off warm spots. Sometimes you won't. I'll ask people around me, do you feel anything different? Because I can see him standing there. No, don't really feel anything different. I think it's up to them, however they choose to get your attention, if that makes sense. Because there have been times when we do feel the cold spots, and I know that it's spirit standing there that's causing it. And then there are times when I'll ask people, do you feel anything on your right side, or do you feel anything on your left side? And they're, no, everything's fine. And I know I can see them standing right there, but they don't feel anything. So.
And we also go ahead and use temperature gauges. We have shot now. Temperature gauges are all surface. The ambient. Most of the time when you shoot a temperature gauge, if you have the gun that's digital, it's actually shooting out a cone. So the farther away you are, the more. Or the millimeter, we've had that with the temperature right there, and we've not been able to go ahead and consistently be able to say we can feel and know it's cold. I mean, to us, it's crazy cold, but we've
it's just like capturing them on film. I'll say all day long, it's standing right there, and you'll even pick up their voices, like at the Lee House.
Yep.
You even picked up his voice to validate everything I was saying, but you couldn't capture him on camera.
Nope.
It's a matter of if they want to be on camera or if they know how to manifest their energy so that it can be captured on camera. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're not always going to get it on film or on recorder. And which is why for Rob, he can't always go by what I say because he can't see it. He can't feel it. He can't, for him, the evidence is in the solid, what he can get on a recorder, what he can get on the camera, what he can pick up here, for me, it's like, I don't need to prove it to you. I'm just telling you I got it. It's up to you to capture it if you want to. I'll just tell you where it is.
But you also have broad shoulders about that. You don't take offense to it. You've been through it enough. You understand.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I do understand. I know what it must be like for people that can't see them and hear them.
And for us as an investigator, for us, we're trying to document it for the client. We're trying to give the client something.
You can't just go to the client and say, well, my medium said it was there. You have to have something where you can say, okay, we went in, the medium did the walk, she picked up this, this, and this, and then later on upon review, we picked up this, this, and this on the camera and the recorder to validate what was picked up there. That makes a much better review for an investigation than, oh, my medium said it.
And I'll get to you in just a sec. I just want to bring up this point. With viewers, thankfully, we've got a lot of awesome, talented viewers, and it's great because we can sit the clients down so they can actually watch the comments because we do a lot of ours live. And we have viewers that will be telling clients about stuff that even after Janie's walked, or maybe Janie isn't even on this location, but you guys from all over the world start telling the client details.
What's going on in their house, and they don't even know the person.
The only thing I will lie to you as a viewer about is if it's a residential and they do not want their location known, I will not tell you their actual location. So if I say we're in Maryland, we might be in West Virginia, we might be in Virginia, I'm not going to tell you where we're at because I'm keeping it confidential. So it's pretty amazing that even if I tell you a different state, several people that are watching will come up and be just, and the client's mouth is just falling. They're like, how can a person in Australia, Teresa, how can she be, how does this woman, is she really in Australia?
Yeah.
How can she be telling me this?
Yep.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It's absolutely, it amazes me. I've been doing it forever and it still amazes me.
Bonnie's now picking up. Somebody else was picking up on that earlier, that somebody keeps coming between us, and now Bonnie's picking up somebody kind of peeping here and there, which is cool. We love it. We enjoy it. Again, for anybody who missed it earlier, look, if you have abilities, think you have abilities, you're not the weirdo, you're not the stranger, you're not broke.
And you're not alone. There are a lot of us that do have abilities. There are a lot of us that have abilities and don't realize their abilities. They really don't.
And that actually can, unfortunately, it's one thing that will hamper a lot of relationships, especially in the beginning as an empath, or if you're stuck in the empathic area, because you are picking up on your partner, whoever's on the other side. If they're frustrated, your frustration grows so much quicker because you're actually picking up theirs, adding it to yours, times it by 3, and it just goes big.
Perfect example. A few years back, this was before I moved to PA, a lady I worked with was suffering from anxiety, from depression, from all these different mental things going on with her. But they only started after she started this new job. Come to find out, she's on all this medication. Come to find out, it's because she's an empath. She's picking up all this negative stuff from all these people on this new job that were really negative. And she was picking it up and feeding off of it. And it was causing her to have these emotions that weren't hers, like depression, anxiety. And as soon as she realized that and trained herself over a year or so to block that out, off all the medications, not a problem in the world. Those weren't her anxieties and her depressions. Right. They were others.
Again, we're not telling you to take any changes without consulting your doctors.
No, absolutely not.
But it's just, we know it does happen. We know there's going to be misdiagnoses that are going to happen on the medical side of it. We're not preaching as far as telling you to go off your medication.
No, please don't, because some people truly do suffer from these things.
So please do not go off your medication, but you can add this to it. I mean, there should not be a big deal, especially if you can learn, you take a couple of these steps to learn how to go ahead and calm down or block off so that you don't keep feeling some particular energy, or you learn how to push it away. Then again, you might find yourself in the same situation where all of a sudden you don't need all the anxiety.
If you don't find yourself in that situation, learning to calm your mind through meditation, along with the medications that you're given for these things, helps the medication work a whole lot better than if you're...
And you've been a nurse before too?
Yes, absolutely. So, believe me.
somebody was asking as far as what's the difference between all the different, look, there's 1,000 different titles out there. You can have all the different titles you want. If it makes you feel good to say you're a clairvoyant, clairaudio, you're a psychic, you're a medium, you're this, look, it's names. Start with the general pocket over here. We use a slide rule just to go across. Think of it over here. Everybody can experience something in their lifetime by far, and realistically, everybody does. Most of the time, a lot of us try to reason it out. Why did we know something, or whatever? Hey, it was a lucky guess, whatever.
Yep.
So everybody's over here. The first main stage is empath. You start all of a sudden having these emotions that you know are not yours. Just come on in a heartbeat. That's, a lot of people at one point or another experience that. You can get stuck there, or you can move on. That's just having the ability to feel other emotions or experiences. Even like somebody, if you go across Civil War battlefield, all of a sudden you feel that like a pound, like something just hits you, or a smashing headache or a stabbing pain. You're experiencing what somebody has experienced in the past. Mm-hmm. Move from that becomes a sensitive. It can pick up bits and pieces, might be video clips, but they don't know where they're coming from. They might know that there's somebody in a particular room, a spirit, but they really don't know the difference. Move that on up. Once you know and you understand where you're getting the information from, become a medium. A medium can still go ahead, will know quite a bit, and again, you have plenty of time to develop. Even a medium, when you're first getting to a medium point, you might even be able to know a few things about the future, which is a psychic. You can, a psychic's going to be able to go ahead and envelope all these together. But as a medium, you still have to continue to build up your confidence. Confidence is a real big deal to have strength. As a sensitive, if you're taking and you're writing your little diary and things that you can confirm and physically confirm on it in your brain, you're actually making yourself a lot more solid, a lot more confidence to you. Be a medium long term. And doesn't mean you're going to go all the way through it. Some people stop at
and
different
never
stages.
think that you know it all. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. I still couldn't give you a clue about how any of it works. And I learned something different from every single investigation we go on. From every single person I meet or read, you learn something different. Every single one of them, I'm constantly learning something different. Like I said before, there were so many different, I didn't even have a clue I could do some of the stuff that I've been doing because I never tried. It never even crossed my mind that I could. And I'm not going to lie to you, when I met your team, I never called myself a medium. I said, I can see dead people. I didn't put a title to myself. And to be honest with you, the only reason I say medium now is because it kind of fits the criteria of what I can do. But because I don't want to be a large. I ain't going to lie. I'd rather be referred to as medium than large.
Oh my gosh.
So Candace had really no difference, just levels.
Absolutely.
Like graduating.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you ever graduate. I think this is something I would probably continuously be learning until I die.
Because even as a medium, again, with yourself, you would be considered a medium, but yet you've expanded on it because there's plenty of mediums that cannot do remote viewing. They've just never tried. And just because they can't do a remote viewing doesn't make them any less of a medium.
How many times have I told people, well, I'm telling you, I get this for you. Nope, it hasn't happened yet. And then we hear from them days later, you know what? It happened. I didn't know that was meant for the future. I just knew I was getting that.
So we got about 7 more minutes left. Is that correct?
Yeah, for an hour, around 30. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna stop in 6 or 7 minutes, guys. We appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. Thanks to everybody that jumped on. Please visit our EPS page,
which we will be live tonight at 9 o'clock. We're going to be on our page, on the EPS page, on the Elite Paranormal Society. If you go to the very top, you'll see our link for it. Or Bonnie, if somebody can, Freddie, if you can type ours in. Freddie's going, please don't call me, please don't call me.
And if you're interested in a reading, then by all means, visit my page if you want to talk to a crazy lady for a little while. Visit my page, send me your email address, and I'll send you an invoice. But please join us tonight for the investigation. It should be pretty cool.
It's a casual location. We've had a lot of it's a house that's next to an area where we've had crazy activity at.
Right.
There's activity all around it. So
I'm not going to be there for the entire investigation, but I am going to be there for at least the first round. Because I live so far away and we left our doggies at home. So
Julie, thanks for being on as well. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. It is a private investigation. We will be, again, investigating tonight starting at 9 p.m. We might start a little bit early. We'll see what time we get up there and get set up at. But we will be on location doing an investigation. It's the same thing. It's casual. When it's casual, We do try to give a little insight as we go along. Just be a little patient with it, because not everybody already knows how to investigate. So we'll explain a little bit as we go. We're really big about that. We will get quiet, ask questions. We don't sit there and talk the entire time, so just bear with us on that. But you'll be able to see that on our page. If you have a message you want to send to us, you can certainly contact Janie on her page, which the link just went up. You can also contact our page again and hit the message button and certainly send us a message. If you're having issues, look, you don't need to be scared. You know, everything can be corrected. Don't, again, if you have abilities, please do not feel like, you know, you're alone, as Janie's been saying.
Exactly, because you're not. You'd be amazed at how many people have abilities that don't even realize it. They don't even realize
They really
it.
don't.
Really quick, Candace said, very awesome information. Best I've heard on the subject since I started looking into my abilities. So,
Awesome.
I'm really glad it helped you, sweetheart.
We keep working on her abilities, so.
I got the ability to go from 0 to kicked off in 2.1.
Yeah, she's quick at it.
Rolande said, thanks for both this live stream, and it helped me so much. So
I do hope that this information helps people, because it was rough when I was growing up with this. It was like you were either told you were a liar, or you were told you just wanted attention, or, well, I'm sorry, but if I wanted help with a better excuse than, hey, there's a dead man in my room.
There's people that have been actually beaten for saying what they're saying.
I was threatened once upon a time by a stepfather that if I didn't shut up talking about that kind of stuff, but so you learn real quick, just don't talk to certain people. You know what I mean? There were certain, like grandma, I could talk to my grandma about it. I could talk to my mom about it, but there were the majority of the family members you just didn't mention it to, because you knew they wouldn't believe you anyway. And what's the point in wasting your like that? If they're going to be closed-minded, there's no point.
Look for this in the future, because we will be, again, we are going to be doing some with children as well, talking about like 10 or 12-year-olds, so that we can set them down at a round table, talk to them. It's a great time that you guys will be able to go ahead and have, if you have children you want them to watch, it will be kid friendly. It's not going to be an issue about that. 5 hours difference, so from 9 o'clock, you guys are 5 hours ahead of us over in the UK. Sorry about that. Again, thank you so much. Tonight, for everybody in the U.S., it's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, Lisa, Eastern Standard Time. Lisa, thanks for being on as well, in case I didn't give you a shout out. Thank you, Bonnie, for following up. Everybody that has also been answering, we sincerely appreciate your support, your backup there to help us.
You're so appreciated.
Tammy, thank you again as well for being on with us. What was that? I missed that. That's all right. I'll get to it.
I get that.
Pam, hope to see you tonight as well. Thank you so much again for being on. Any shout outs?
My daughter. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Bunky. I tagged them both in this, so they better be watching.
Dory, I want to correct. I apologize. I was thinking for some reason shoulder. It was not you. Dory had been battling cancer as well, dealing with breast cancer. Dory, make sure you get rid of that right along with Craig. Please, everybody, keep them two in your prayers as well, as far as for Craig Williams and Dory. I'm sorry, what is Dory's last name right offhand? I'm going to kick myself for this one. Wheeler, thank you so much. I'm sincerely sorry about that. Hey, but at least I got the right part with the cancer part this time. Last time I said it was her shoulder, and she was like, where'd you get my shoulder from? I'm sorry. Seriously, you guys are in our prayers. We love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, guys.
We will be checking back on everybody's comments. All of you. Thanks again, and hope you go ahead and go over to our page and join us tonight at 9 p.m. Guys, we're out of here.
See you then.
Thank you.